Let's just jump into this quarterback draft class. Where do you rank it from what you have maybe seen personally in the league and what you might have been looking at in previous drafts from afar?
Yeah, I
Chase?
mean, it's a deep quarterback class, right? Obviously, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., in my opinion, are, probably the deepest class overall from 1 to 5 that I've seen in quite some time. And it's all about potential, right? Like, it starts with Caleb Williams for me, everything that he's done. Obviously, people said, like, hey, he didn't have as good of a year last year as he did his sophomore year. But I think he had a pretty good year. I think that the offensive line for USC was just awful last year, and that's putting it nicely. So he was scrambling for his life a lot, making all these off kilter plays that we know and love. And I think the biggest thing that scouts like about him, and what I like about him, is that out of pocket movement, that he's able to create plays when it's not there for you, and that's something that, with this NFL game going to another level, like, you got to have a guy that can make plays off schedule, out of pocket. And I think, and I'm not saying this is going to translate to the NFL, but I do think, like, Caleb Williams has some Patrick Mahomes in him. I think he's a better prospect coming out of college than Patrick Mahomes was. And I think that's what got scouts excited, was that out of pocket escapability type thing. And we'll just see how it translates into the NFL. Like, I'm not sure. And then, for QB2 for me, it's so difficult because I like Drake May or Jaden Daniels. And I've watched some Drake May. I just started watching Jaden Daniels, and the dude can flat out play. Like, he's exactly what I think an NFL offense needs in terms of his movement, getting out. Like, he just has such a smooth stroke, in my opinion. Like, when you watch it, just a pure thrower. Now, he's played a lot. He's played 5 years or 6. He seems like he's been around forever. And I do think that the ceiling can still grow with him. And I think that's what scouts are excited about. I think he's a better athlete. He is the best athlete of all the quarterbacks out there, in my opinion. And then you go to Drake May, who, look, he's a redshirt sophomore. So he's only started 2 years, but he was captains both of those years. Prototypical size, not as strong as an arm as I thought when I first started diving in on him. But I do think that the dude can spin it with the best of them. And I do think, out of really Caleb, Jaden, and Drake, I do think he's the most pro ready. Like, I do think you can put him in an offense. He's the one that's been under center, other than J.J. McCarthy. I got to throw him in there too. The most, like, he's been under center quite a bit. And then Michael Penix Jr., I forgot about J.J. McCarthy, which,
it's
look,
all right.
I'm looking at DJ's.
Let me just jump in real quick here, Chase. I'll just jump in because you've just said a lot, and I just want to pull on some of the strings of what you just said. So, Caleb Williams, let's just go back to him for a sec.
Yeah.
So Caleb is not hiring an agent, it seems. And, everything is a flag, or everything is flaggable, or everything is something that's part of an evaluation. That's the way it goes. And, it's unfortunate, certainly in this day and age, where every single thing anybody says winds up on your phone, and you see it and you believe it and what have you. But this is a fact. And so when you hear that, what do you think of?
Well, to me, when I hear of a prospect he's going to go number 1 overall, I think, if Chicago decides to pick. Like, it's all slotted, right? So, like, well, what are you really doing for an agent? He's going to save 3% on it. I get that. I don't really think it's that big of a deal.
Okay.
Now, he probably has a lawyer or an attorney going to look over the contract, help him get it, and probably going big on the marketing firm, SC, NIL, all that stuff. So I don't necessarily know if you need to just give away 3% of your salary. Look, I am pro agent. Like, I had one of the best agents of all time being able to get me some of these contracts that I was able to get. Jeff Nally, he was Select Sports Group. Now they're with CAA, under the CAA umbrella.
Right.
And I've always fought for agents. I was a voting rep for the NFLPA for 10 years, and I was always pro agent. And in this point, I don't see a red flag with that necessarily.
No, I mean,
like some people do. It's just, you're going to save 3% on your first contract.
But what if he wants to go to Washington, right, Chase? What if he sits there and honestly, what if he sits there and he vibes with the Giants, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
how do you then try to affect that? And obviously, it doesn't matter if the Bears are the ones that are into you, But I mean, don't you think you need that? That's all I'm saying. is because he is going to be first overall. He should be first overall. He is the eye test. You threw the name Mahomes out there. That's been out there for a while, because you just take a look at him and the way he plays is exactly like that. And clearly this is the world you live in the NFL. I'm just wondering about that aspect of an evaluation.
Yeah,
Chase.
I mean, look, 4 of the first 6 teams pick and need quarterbacks, like badly. Like you could see a run on 4 quarterbacks in the first 6 picks, and that includes the Giants at 6. And so if that to happen, I think, in my opinion, they have enough people around him that can help him with that. Like I really just, at the end of the day, if you want Caleb Williams, you better figure out a way to trade up to 1. And that's my opinion. So I don't know if it matters as much as some people think. I've always, like I said, loved agents, but at the end of the day, he's got to do what's best for him. And maybe he's following Lamar Jackson's footsteps, right? Like just handled a really big contract essentially with himself. I do think, though, coming into the NFL, in my opinion, I would hire an agent. If I was Caleb Williams, I would absolutely hire an agent. They can only help you. And by the way, like a lot of guys don't understand this 3% rate, it's negotiable.
Yeah.
Like I know people that are paying 1%, 2%, 3%. So I'm thinking that it's probably having to do with saving some money in this opinion, because in my opinion, an agent can only help you. You know what I'm saying? It can't hurt you at this point.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.